Hi people. When Yellowstone welcomed us with 2 brand new spin-offs, we didn't expect them to be this good. Especially 1883, which premiered a couple of weeks ago, already proved that it will rival Yellowstone when it comes to ratings and quality. The show follows the first generation of Duttons, who are on their journey to Montana to start fresh, better life. However, this journey isn't your typical journey. Since it takes place in the 19th century, the biggest luxury is to get a train ride, but it's a rare occasion since there are only a few railways. The most common way of transportation is the carriages, which are effective in carrying not only the people, but also their possessions. That being said, there are no roads or safe spots for travelers to rest in. Instead, there are bandits, harsh natural conditions, and endless chronic illnesses. Naturally, the journey isn't something to be desired, not as very pleasing. Thankfully, the Duttons are each strong people, since only the fittest would survive the journey. Through 1883, we witness their experiences throughout the difficult road, as they travel with a crowded group of German migrants who are clueless about the circumstances of the American West. In Episode 3, we watch the family after they lost their aunt and niece, which was tragic. Still, the family was hopeful about the future, as they were determined to complete the journey no matter what. James Dutton was an unconditional man who was insisting on treating her daughter, Elsa, as if she is a cowboy. Thanks to his progressive approach in raising her daughter, Elsa takes part in almost all steps of the journey, from securing the cattle to taking care of the crew in general. She even has a gun since her father trusts her enough to use it whenever she feels necessary. The mother of the family, Margaret, is also a strong woman whom Elsa highly looks up to. In other words, Duttons prove that if someone will go through this journey without major damage, they will be the ones to do so. Still, this strength of the Duttons also makes them very stubborn, as James insisted on moving towards the west, rather than taking the ferry in the east, which caused him to clash with Shay. Eventually, Shay gave in and accepted to move toward the west. However, we feel like James might regret forcing them to go on the west, since anything that will happen on the road will be his responsibility from now on. Besides, by taking such a decision, they automatically made it certain that they will prolong their journey through the winter season. We suspect that in Episode 4, we will witness more disagreements between Shay and James. Since Shay is moving ahead with the Germans and James is following them behind, the former is likely to face challenges that will force him to question James' decision. We're not sure how would James respond if the group gets major harm on the way. That being said, he made it clear multiple times before that he cares for no one but his family. And yet, we refuse to believe he can be so heartless. We also witnessed Elsa and Ennis flirting throughout the episode. James also gave his permission to them to flirt, since he knows forbidding anything at that age is pointless. Though they lack chemistry, the couple can be a fun one to follow in the upcoming episodes, as Ennis seems like a genuinely good guy. In the upcoming episode, we expect the two to continue their flirt and perhaps even get into some deeper discussions on their lives. So far, we didn't get much information on the life of the Duttons back in Tennessee. Besides, we have no idea who Ennis is. So, the couple's flirting might be a good opportunity to introduce them a bit more thoroughly, as they will probably discuss their past with each other, which is something we cannot wait to watch. That being said, we don't expect the couple to get into a serious relationship per se. From the very first scene of the very first episode, we know that Elsa will probably die either at the end of the journey or during the journey. We feel like the showrunners wouldn't let her die before Ennis dies. Ennis gives us the energy of a first love who is bound to die since our main character needs a heartbreak to get mature. Therefore, regardless of Elsa's aftermath, we expect Ennis to die before the season ends. Even Episode 4 might be the one that Ennis gets killed. We expect the upcoming episode to witness Germans getting into not only intra-group fights but also some rebellious actions against Shay. They already showed us that in the previous episode that they're sticking with each other rather than trusting the Americans, which makes sense. The only problem is the fact that they are delusional about their abilities to survive the American West. Still, we expect at least a group of Germans to leave the group to go on their way, which will probably end up in disaster. There is a high chance the disagreement will once again emerge regarding the gypsy woman who lost her husband and now is moving together with her 2 sons as a widower. Currently, he is under the protection of Shay and Thomas. Thomas has been especially helpful to her, as we watched him riding alongside her. This will probably upset many Germans as they will feel like she gets a privilege. We also expect Thomas and the gypsy woman to form a close friendship, perhaps even a flirt, that will create a great plotline for the series. We also expect the group to suffer from the further flow of bandits' death and illnesses. What are your expectations from episode 4 of 1883? Do you enjoy the series so far? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you soon.